Code Explain says hi. Today we're going to build a website, a responsive website that shows the FIFA World Cup 2022 results, matches to come, and the standings. So we're going to make this responsive, and we're going to build this using only vanilla JavaScript, CSS, and HTML. So you can see here that our website is kinda responsive. So these are all the matches. We also have matches to be determined, and we show the stage here, the date of the matches, etc. So we're going to use a free API to build this website. So without further ado, let's go and start our tutorial, but first don't forget to like and subscribe. Let's do it. Now let's go and create our project. So I'm gonna go and open a folder. I'm going to the desktop and I'm going to create my project folder. So I'm just gonna call this FIFA World Cup 2022. I'm going to select that folder, and now I need to create some files here. The first one is going to be the index.html and a folder source. Then I'm gonna need another folder inside called CSS, then a file inside that CSS folder that's gonna be style.css. So let's go now into our index.html. I'm going to create a basic HTML code. I'm going to change the title to FIFA World Cup 2022, and then I'm going to use just hello here, and then I'm going to hit save. Now I'm just gonna go and go live. So this will open a live server. I'm just gonna go now and zoom in. Now let's go into our style.css, but first let's link that style sheet. So I'm going to use src here, then css, then style.css, hit save. Now let's go and see if that's working. Background color black, hit save, and it's black. Now let's remove everything here. So now I need to get rid of these paddings and margins. So I'm going to set the padding to 0, then the margin to 0. Now I also need to say the box size into border box. And now let's go and grab the font we're going to be using for this website. So it's called Maven Pro. I'm just gonna go and select this one here, medium 500. Then I'm going to copy the link to it. Now let's go to our project here, and I'm going to go to the index just before the style sheet. I'm going to paste in that font here. Now let's go back into our style.css, and let's go now and go back to Google Font website, and I'm going to copy this CSS rule. Now let's go back to our style.css and hit save. Now you can see that the font has been changed. Now let's go and set the HTML font size for the whole document to 20 pixels. And that's it. And now let's go back to our index.html file, and the first thing we're going to be creating is the header. Well, let's go and create a div with a class name container, and then inside I'm going to create another div with the class name header. Now let's just go and reset the zoom value. Here I'm going to use an image, and it's going to be this image here. So I'm just gonna go and save image as. I'm going to desktop and then source. Then I need a folder here called image. Then I'm going to save it there. Now let's go back here and I'm going to use src, then image, then logo. Now I can see that here. Now I'm just going to go as and use as alternative the title. Now I'm going to go and use an H1 here. I'm just going to go and grab this again. I'm going to hit save. Now let's go back to our style.css to style this. So here I'm going to add a comment for header. Then I'm going to style first the header image. I'm going to set the width to 100 pixels for the image. Now I also need to add some CSS rules for my header. Now I'm going to display this as flags. Then I'm going to align those items. So I'm going to set this to center. You can justify content center as well. Now I'm going to set the height of the header to 150 pixels. Well, we can't see that yet, so I'm just going to go and use a background color. Now I'm not gonna go and use this as a plain color. I'm going to use some vars here, some variables. So root, then the name of the variable is going to be main background color, and it's going to be an RGB. So I'm going to use 138, 21, and 56. And also I need a main color for text. It's going to be white color. Now I'm going to go here. The background color is going to be an RGB, and I'm going to use the variable main background color. I'm going to hit save. Now you can see it there. Now I'm going to set the color of text to RGB as well, then var, then main color. I'm going to hit save. Now I'm going to go and add some margin right to the logo here. So I'm just going to go here and say margin right. I'm going to set this to 2 rems, which means 40 pixels. So here for the header, I'm going to add some padding for left and right. So padding 0 for top and bottom, but 0.5 rems for right and left. And that's it for the header. Now it's time to go and create the navbar, but first I just noticed that we're using here the wrong font weight, so we're going to use 400 instead of 500. So I'm just going to go to the index.html. So here, instead of using the weight 500, I'm going to use 400. And now it looks like the original website. Now let's go and create the navbar. So just under the header, I'm going to add another div with the class name navbar. Then I'm going to have 3 links. So I'm going to multiply this by 3 and hit enter. Now this one's going to be today matches, and this one's going to be all matches, and this one here is going to be stand-ins, or the table stand-ins. Now this one here is going to be active by default, and let's go and style the navbar. So I'm going to add again a comment for navbar. Now let's go and style our navbar. So I'm going to go first and add a background color. I'm going to use the same one we used for the header. I'm going to hit save. Now I'm going to go and change the background or the display to flex. Now I need to set the height to 60 pixels. Then I'm going to go and style each link. Now I'm going to go and set the background color to black just to see what's going on here. So I'm going to set the width of these to 100% and the height of them to 100% also. Now when I set the width of these links here, all of them to 100%, this means that these devs here will now have 33% for the width for every one of them. Now I'm gonna go here and use display flex not block, and then justify content or center, and then align items center. Then I'm going to use a border right to separate those buttons, a border right. So border right, 1 pixel, solid. It's going to be an RGB, and I'm going to call this the border color. Now this border color here will be just a light version of this color here. So I'm gonna go here and say border color is going to be 161, 16, then 59. I'm going to hit save. Now you can see that border there. Now I'm gonna go here and get rid of this background black, and I also need to use the same color for the border top of the navbar to separate the border or the navbar from the header. I'm going to hit save, zoom in again. You can see that the border is there. Now you can see that when I zoomed in, the text here touches the left side of the screen, so we need to add some padding here, some paddings. So I'm going to use 0 for top and bottom, and then 0.25 rems for left and right. Then I need to center that text align center. Now I need to make this a little bit bigger, so I'm going to use font size 1.1 rem, and then I need to give the user the feeling that these buttons are clickable, so cursor pointer. Now it's time to go and change the color or the background color of these buttons when I hover over them. So I want the color of text to be the background color, and then the background color will be the color of the text. So I'm just gonna go and grab these here, and then I'm going to use navbar, then that link, then hover. Now I'm just gonna go and use the main color for the background color and the background color for the color of text. And now you can see that when I hover over the buttons, the colors switches. Now we also need to use the same thing when it's active. So I'm just gonna go here and say navbar, then that link, then that active. And now this button here is active. And that's it for the navbar. Now it's time to go and create Today Matches component. Now it's time to go and create our matches component. So the matches component is this component here. So we have the date, so the stage, the date, and then the matches in that date. So let's go and create this component here. So I'm gonna go into our index.html. So under the navbar, I'm going to create a div with the class name tabs. So we'll have 3 tabs here, one for today matches, all matches, and one for stand-ins. So I'm just gonna go and multiply tab by 3. So now this one's going to be for today matches. I'm going to hit save. Now inside of today matches, we're going to have our matches component. So this one here will have this stage, I guess. So a div with the class name stage. So we're going to use an h 3. I'm going to say like a group stage, then let's say today. Then I'm going here to this just enter. I'm going to use a dev with the class name container. Now inside this container here, so we have this stage, and then inside the container I will have my matches here. So that's going to be inside a dev with the class name match container. So the match container here is a single match. So if I have 2, then I would have 2 of these dev. Now inside the match container I would have a group. So I have here the group. Now let's say here I'm going to use an h4. Let's say now a round of 16, or this could be like group A, etc. So if it's not the group stage, it's going to be just round of 16 or any stage. Now after the group I'm going to use a dev with the class name match. So this is actually this whole thing. Now inside match I need to render the teams and also the match state. So this thing here. Now inside the match state I will have 3 devs. The first one is going to be the state itself, whether the match is finished or it's half time, etc. Then the date of the match, let's say for example Saturday, December 3. Then I would have also a dev with the class name time. So let's say 18 o'clock. Let's go back to our app here. Now inside the teams I will have 2 teams. So 2 teams. This one's going to be the home team, and this one's going to be the away team. Then inside the home team and the away team, it's going to be the same structure. So I will have a team info. So I'm just going to call this info. So it's going to be an image, and then it's going to be a dev with the class name for the name of the team. Let's say just Brazil, and then here I'm going to use a score for the class name of this dev. Let's say just 0 for now. So if I take a look here, see we have Brazil 0. Now let's just go and grab the Brazil team flag. So I'm just gonna go and copy that source. Now let's go back. For the alt, I'm just gonna use the same thing, the name of that team. Now I'm gonna go and grab the whole thing here and paste it in here. Now let's change this, for example, to Spain, and I also need to go and grab the Spain flag. So let's copy that link. So I'm just going to go and change this thing here to the Spain flag. Let's go back here. Let's use Spain here for the alt, and that's it. So now I have created the HTML code for a matches component. Now let's go and style this. So let's go to our style.css. I'm just going to go and style the tabs first. So tabs. So tabs is going to have these tab element inside, and I'm gonna go here and say tabs, and because I want to center these elements here inside my tabs element, I want to display this as a flex and then justify content center. Now you can see I centered. Now I'm just gonna go for each of the tabs, and I want the max width to be 1000 pixels, and also the width of that to be 100%. Now if I use a background color here, a background color, let's say this color here, and use a margin here, let's say 5 pixels. Now you can see we have 3 tabs, but we're not going to go and show them all at the same time. When I am on today matches, I'm going to show this tab. When I'm all matches, I'm going to show this tab here. Standings, I'm going to show this tab. So I need to hide these 2 here and keep just this one here. When I open this, I want to hide this one and keep just this one. So I'm gonna go here and add a class name called hide. Now let's go and create that class name, hide. So hide, then display is going to be set to none. Now I have only one tab here. Now when I used max width, so if I go and make this bigger, you can see that when it's a small screen, just takes the 100% of the width, but when we go for more than 1000 pixel, it's just centered because I used here justify content center on the parent tabs. Now I'm gonna go and get rid of these here. Now the first thing I want to style is the stage, but first let's say matches, and I want to add some margins here. Let's say 1 rem. That's a lot, I guess. Let's just say 0.5 rems, and then inside we need the, let's just go and see what we have here. So matches then stage, so matches then that stage. I need to use some margins here for of 1 rem for top and bottom here. Then I'm gonna go and style the container, match container, and the match here. So let's go and use and just copy these. So the container, all right, the container here, the match container. So I also need to use matches here, matches. Then I'm just gonna go and grab the whole thing here to use it on the match class name. Now for the match container, I want to add a border of 1 pixel solid. I guess not on the container, but just the match container. So the container is going to have all the matches inside. So we will have multiple matches. So I want to add a border just for a single match, not the whole thing. So 1 pixel solid. Now let's just use black for now. That's great. Then I want to use a max width of 100 or 400 pixels. That's right. Now let's go and add some padding here, paddings. So 0.5 rems. Okay, now let's go and add some margin for this here. So it's gonna be the match. So margin top. let's say 0.5 rems. Now let's change the width and height of these images. So I guess it's going to be the team, the info. So the team, then dot info, then the image. So the width is going to be 24 pixels, and the same thing for the height. Now I need to go and make the info and or the I guess the info and the score both aligned horizontally. So I'm going to use team here. So let's go and use dot team. So I'm going to display this as a flex. You can see now they are horizontally aligned. Now I'm gonna go to align teams and match state. So I'm going to use match here. So this one here. So I'm going to display this as a flex as well. So now I need also to use team info here. Team info and use display flex again. And now everything is displayed flex. Now here for the match, I need to use justify content space around. And I guess I'm going to also align items center. Now for these, the team here, I'm going to add some margin here, top 0.5 rem and 0.4 left and right. And now let's go and add some space between these info here and this match state. So I guess I'm going to this match here. Or let's just go and see the score. Where's the score? So we have the score here. So it's going to be inside the team. So inside team display flex, I want to set the justify content to space around, I guess. Then I also need to set its width first to 60%. Let's just add the background color here to see what's going on. So just this is a team. All right. So a team, it has the info and the score. Teams. Okay, I need to add this width here on teams. And I didn't create that yet, so let's go and say that teams. Let's go and say its width there. And you can see now that we have them like we have some space between them here. Now let's go to our info and just align items center. No, not info, but I want to like center this, so I'm gonna go and use the match state. So let's go here to, let's say, match that match state. So I'm going to say display flex, then I need to flex direction column, then display or align items center, and then I'm going to give this a width of 400 pixels, 40%. And here let's just go and add match here for all of these. Match. Now let's go and add a margin right for this, margin right of 0.5 rems. Let's also give it a border, let's say 1 pixel solid, and let's actually create the color for that. let's say body border color. So I'm just gonna go to the top here, and I'm going to use 214, then 197, then 197. That's like a gray color. So I'm going to use that as a border for the images. Then the border radius is going to be 5 pixels. Now I'm just going to go and get rid of this background color here. Let's zoom in. You can see we have this background color around it. Let's zoom out again. Now I need to add a left border here, so I'm just going to go and use this on the match state here. It's going to be border left. That's it. Now let's just check if we have the same thing. I guess we almost have the same thing here. We just need to change this border here. Let's go and do that. So just gonna go and copy this. Let's go to our container. I guess it's here. I'm gonna use a border radius as well here for 5 pixels. And I guess that's it. Now let's go and duplicate the match, because we will have more than a single match. Now let's say we have 4 matches here. So first I need to add some margins for a match container. So padding, then some margin as well, 0.5 rems. Alright, now we have that. So if the screen is like wider, we need to show 2 matches per row. So I'm going to go to the container here, and I'm going to set display here to flex, and then justify content center. Now I also need to use flex wrap. I'm going to set it to wrap. Now the flex here, I'm going to set it to 50%, and that's it. So now if I go wider, this is not, it will just show 2 matches per row. Now if I go and for small screens, I will have just 1 match per row. And I guess we need now to just add the hover effect for this. So I'm just going to go to the top here. Let's just print this. And let's go for our match container here. I'm going to say matches dot container dot match container. On hover, I'm going to need to use here the background color for the background and the main color for the color of text, and that's it. So it's almost the same thing we have here, I guess. So with a little bit of like a difference in spacing here, but that's okay, I guess. Now we're done with matches component, and for all matches we're going to use the same component, so no need to do any like HTML or CSS for this tab here. Now we need to go for the stand-ins. And now it's time to create our stand-ins tab here. So I'm just gonna go and call the second one all matches. And then this one is going to be the stand-ins. And now I need to unhide this, so I'm just going to remove hide and then add it to today matches. To go to the stand-ins, we need to click on this link here, which means that this will be now active, the stand-ins link. I'm gonna hit save. Now you can see that our standings here is now active, and now whatever was in the standings here will be shown now here. So now let's go and create the HTML for our standings. So I'm gonna have here a component called group. So I'm just gonna use a div with the class name group here. Then I will have the group title. So I'm gonna call this group title. Now inside the group title is gonna be an H3. It's gonna say group A, for example. Now I will have rows and columns. So I will have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rows, and I guess 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 columns. So I'm just gonna go here. So I'm going to say row. I'm going to create this first row here and then just duplicate it. So the first row here is going to have 9 columns. The first column is going to be the main column. I'm going to call it main. And this one's going to be team here. So team, then match played, then the win, the match they win, how many matches they won, then draw, then lost, and then goals for, and then goals against, and then goals difference, and then points. I'm going to hit save. Let's look at this. So we have group A, team, match played, etc. all those there. Now I'm going to create another div here called teams, and this is where I will render these teams. Every team is just another row, so I'm just gonna put this in here. Now I'm gonna call this team. I'm gonna add this class team here. I might need it. Now I'm going to create a div with the class name rank. So for example 1 here. Then the image for the flag of the team. Let's say again Brazil again. Then here it's going to be the name of that team, Brazil. Now let's go and grab the link for the Brazilian team. Let's go back here. I'm going to hit save. Now this is a single team. Now we just go and change these. So let's say 3, 2, 1, 0, 4, 1, 3, and then 7. Now let's go back to our app. So we have our group title, the top row, and now we have our team, the first team. Now all I need to do is to go and duplicate this like 4 times. So I have 4 teams in a group. So 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to hit save. Now I have 4 teams. And that's all I need for the group component. Now it's time to go and style this. So let's go to our style.css. I'm just gonna go and minimize these. So let's go to style.css and start with our standings div. Standings. So this standings here is actually a tab. We already set the max width of the tab to 1000 pixels. Now I want to set the standings here tab to only 600 pixels. So max width to 600 pixels. Alright, now you can see it's centered. And then I just need to add some padding here, like 0.75 rems. And now let's go and style this. I need to add some margins here, margin bottom. So standings dot group, and then the standings dot group title. Now I just need to add some margin bottom here. Let's say 1 rem. Alright, now let's go and go to standings, then dot group, and then dot row. So each row is going to be displayed as a flex, and I'm going to use justify content space between, or actually I don't need to. So I'm just gonna go now for each, so standings dot group and then that row. Now for the main one here, so this is the main, so the main here will have a flex set to 1. Now you can see it takes the most of the space here. Now I will set now the width of these to 40 pixels. So I'm just gonna go for standings dot group and then that row and then that column. So each column will have a width of 40 pixels. That's right. Now we need to center these. So I'm just gonna go and say display flex again, justify content center, and align items center. But I don't want to like center these. So what I will do is I'm just going to take this. Okay, I'm just gonna go and take this to the bottom here, and then use justify content start. Just like that. Now I need to make this flags here smaller, but they're gonna be the same thing as these flags here in today's matches and all matches. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just gonna go into our rows here. Let's remove all the 3 rows, and now let's go here and add a class name for this. I'm going to call it flag. Now I'm going to go again and minimize this and duplicate it 4 times. So I'm just gonna go here now and select that flag, or I'm just gonna go to the top here. So this is where I actually start the image. So I'm just gonna call this flag. Now you can see that the flag has the same, will have the same style as this, the ones we use in today's matches. Now I will need to go and add some margins for this rank here. So standings that group and then that row and then that I guess it's rank. So I'm just gonna go and add some margin right of 0.5 rems. Yeah, now for each row I'm gonna add some margins. So 0.5 rem for top, left and right set to 0. And now I want to go and make this color, the color of text, a little bit lighter. So I'm just gonna go and select the top row. So I will go here for my just after the group title, the first row is I'm gonna add a top class name there. So now I can select that row. I'm just gonna go and duplicate this. Now it's the top row dot columns. So all the columns now in that row will have an opacity of 0.6. Now you can see we have that lighter color now. It's like a gray color. Now we need to go and add a border left for these two teams, the ones that will go to the next stage. So I'm just gonna go here and select the teams. So it's going to be, I'm just gonna go and duplicate this. So it's going to be stand-ins. So it's going to be teams, then row, and then nth child. So the first here child and the second child also. So border left 4 pixels solid, and then I'm just gonna go and use blue color, the blue color here. Now I'm just gonna go and use the same thing for the second child, and that's it. Now we need to add some borders to this one here. So I guess that's the rank. So let's use just 0 for top and bottom and 0.5 for left and right. Now you can see that we have this, they are not aligned. So I'm just gonna go and add a border left for these as well. So I'm just gonna go and copy this, paste it here. I'm just gonna go and remove the whole thing. So for all the rows, I'm just gonna go and add this color here, but it's going to be transparent. You can see now that they are aligned. Now I guess I'm gonna go and duplicate these groups here. So we have this group, let's say I have 2 more groups, group A, group A, group A. So now I need to go to the group here and add some margin bottom of 1 rem, or let's make it 2 rems, to have some space between the groups. And I guess this is lots of space here for the title. So let's just say 0.5 rems or 0.75 rems. Yeah, and that's it. Now let's go back here, remove those groups. And now it's time to go and use JavaScript to render the groups and today matches and all matches. Well, this is the API we're going to be using for this tutorial. I just searched for free API and I ended up with this one here. I will put the link down in description. So to use this API, we first need to create an account. We need to send a post request to this endpoint here, and we need to provide this data here. So when we register successfully, we get a status success and we get a token. So this token here is what we have to provide each time we need to request data from the API, and because it expires, we need to log in to get a new one. So when we log in, we need to send a post request to this endpoint here with the email and password. And let's first go and register and also log in. Now let's go and create an account. So we need to send a request to this endpoint here. I'm just going to go and copy the whole request. Now let's go to our VS Code here. Let's go under source and create a folder called JS. So this is where I will create all my JavaScript files. Let's call this register.js. Now I need to go and paste in the request here, and we need to transform this to a fetch request. So I'm going to create an async function here. I'm going to call this register, and I need here to use fetch. So fetch, and then I need to use this endpoint here. and then I'm going to set here the method to post, so it's a post request. Then I need to set the headers, so headers, and I'm going to paste in this. I need to add some quotes here. Then a body to send this data here. I'm going to JSON stringify this. I'm going to hit save. Now let's go and remove the comments here. Now all I need is to change this. So let's say code explained, and then I'm going to use code explained at code, let's say code explained .dev. This email doesn't work, so I'm just gonna go and use 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. I just copy the whole thing. Now I'm just gonna go and save these here. Let's say const email is going to be this email here, and password is going to be that password. Let's use equal sign here. So let's just get some space here. So I have here, okay, so I have here the email and password, and I need to pass those email and then password. So the email and password. Now I'm gonna go and call the register function here, but first I'm gonna need to get the response, and I need to await for fetch to finish. Then I'm gonna go and get the data here. So I'm going to await again for res.json, and then console log the data. Now if I go and open the console log, I first need to go to the index.html file, and here I need to link this script we just created, our register.js, and I need to use differ here to load this script just after this one finishes. Now when I hit save, I have this missing in const declaration. So const email equals password equals, I need to get rid of this comma here. Now let's go and call the register function here, register function. If I hit save, now I can see we have this cause. Now to fix this, I'm going to use a proxy, so it's called cause everywhere. So you need to go first to cause demo, so to cause demo, and you need to request a temporary access to the demo server, and then you need to copy just this part here, and I'm gonna go and use it const proxy, and now I'm just gonna go and use some backticks here, use the proxy, and then use this here without the quotes. I'm going to hit save again. Now I can see we get an object, it says success, and we got the token here, and it says user created. So now we have an account with this email here and this password. So I'm just gonna go and uncomment this register. I don't want to go and recreate the account, so we need to register just one time. So I'm just gonna go and remove this comment here. Now I can use this email and password to log in. I can also use this proxy here. So I'm just gonna go and hit save, and it's time to go and log in. Now it's time to go and log in to get the token here. So I'm just going to go and copy this request. Now let's go to VS Code and let's go under JS here and create a new folder called login.js. Now I'm just going to go and paste in that request and comment this. And now I don't want to repeat myself, so I'm just going to go to register here and copy the whole function and rename it login. Now for the endpoint here, it's going to be /login. And then the proxy here is a global variable as well as email and password. So here we need to send just the email and password. No need to send the name and password confirm. Now I'm going to hit save and call login. So I'm gonna need to go first and link that file, the login file here. Now if I hit save, you can see we have an object here which says status success. Then we have this data property, so data property, and then we have this other property called token. So now if I save, now you can see we get just a token here, and that's what we need. So in the login function, I'm just going to need to return this token, return. And now whenever I want to get the token, just need to say const token equals login, and I need to wait for this function here. So whenever I want to get the token and use it to make a request, I will just run this code here. Well, now I can't use await inside this file here because I need to run await inside a function with async. So I'm just gonna go and cut this. Now I'm going to go and create a file called init here. And this is to initialize our app. So I'm going to create a function called init, and then this is where I will log in and get the token. And now I can use this token here. So let's just console log it and hit save. Now I need to go to the index.html file and link our init file. Init.js, this file. And now let's go to our init file. So now we're not going to call login here anymore. So it's just like we created this function here. Now let's go and get rid of this login and also the register. And now let's go and call our init function and hit save. Now we must see the token here. Now I can use this token here to send a request to get today matches, and that's the next thing we're going to do. Now I want to make our buttons here or these links here functions. So I'm gonna go here to the index.html and I need to select these links here and also the tabs here. And you can see that we can just make a link between these links here and the tabs. So this one here, this first one here, index is going to be 0, and this one's also is going to be 0. This one's index is going to be 1, and this one's also 2, and this one's 2. So I'm just going to go and add here all matches because this is the one that doesn't have any inner HTML content. Now I'm going to hit save and I'm gonna go and create another file here called navigation.js. Now inside the navigation.js, I need to select both the Navbar link and the tabs tab. So I'm going to do that. Let's go and say const links let's say a document that query selector all. So I want to select all the navbar, that link. I'm going to hit save. Now I'm just going to duplicate this. I'm going to say here tabs, and this time it's going to be tabs, then tab. Now I'm going to hit save. Now if I console log links, I need to go first and link my navigation file here. Now you can see that this is a node list. If I want to make this an array, I just need to like spread that node list and put it in an array. Now if I hit save, now you can see that this is now an array. Now I'm going to do the same thing for the tabs. Now I want to go and add an event listener to each of these links, so I need to go and say links that for each link I'm going to say link that add event listener, and it's going to be a click, and whenever I click on that I need to call a function called select tab, and I need to pass in its index here. So I need to get that index from here. So I'm gonna call it index or IDX. So I'm just gonna go and create that function now, select tab. It's gonna take in the index. Now let's just console log that index for now. So if I go now and click on today matches, it's going to show 0, 1, then 2. Now all I need to do is I need to go and use a for each method, and on the tabs or on the links, it doesn't matter. So I'm just going to go and use a for each on the links. So each link here, and then its index. Now if this index here in our links array, if that index is the same as the IDX, then I want to make this link active. So I'm just gonna go and say link that class list that add the active class name. But if that's not the case, I want to remove this active from that link. So I clicked on the link. Now I send its index to select tab. Now if that index happens to be the index of the one I'm iterating, then I need to add active to it. If it's not, I need to remove the active class name from that link. So I'm just gonna go here and try. So I click on this one. Now it's active. Now this one is active, but this one is not anymore, etc. Now I need just to do the same thing with the tabs. So I'm just gonna go here and say tabs, and because they have the same index, I'm just gonna go and use that index, tab the index class list that add or remove. Here we need to remove the hide class name. So we need to remove the hide class name to show the appropriate tab. Now I'm just gonna go and copy this, paste it in here, and this time we need to add that hide. So I guess I need to use here index instead of IDX. So I need to use this index here instead of the IDX. So this is the index of what I have clicked on. So I'm going to hit save now. Now let's go and click on today matches. Now you can see that we are on today's matches, all matches and stand-ins. And you can see that I have here this group A, this flag didn't get the class name. Let's go and fix that. So I'm just gonna go here into our today's matches. I'm gonna go and remove all the containers. Now let's go back here. I need to use a class name flag. If I hit save, go to today matches, you can see it there. Now let's go and do the same thing with this one here. And that's it. Now let's go back. Let's just go and minimize this. And let's go back to our navigation or to our index.html. Now I want to make this one here active. This one's not active. I want to unhide this and I want to hide this one here. I'm going to hit save, and this is the one I want to show by default, and also this is the one we need to go and work on next step. Now it's time to go and get the matches. I'm not gonna get all the matches yet. I need to go and get the matches by date, by today's date. So the date is going to be in this format here. So day, then month, then year. So this is what we need to send. And it's going to be a post request, and this is what we need to send in the body. So I'm just gonna go and copy this. Now let's go back to our VS Code here, and let's go and create a file called today matches.js. Now we need actually to go and link that. So source.js and then today matches. Make sure you call today matches or you link today matches first, then init, because we're going to call the function in today matches from within init. So I'm going to go and create a function called function get today matches. This needs okay, let's just go and save our endpoint here. Now let's go to login and copy this code from here and paste it in here. Now let's go and use this. So it's gonna be a post, and also I need to send here the date. Today's date is going to be 12. It's actually 4 and then 2022. So I'm going to hit save, and I'm just going to go and console log data here. Now we need the token to send the token, so we need to use authorization, and we need to use bearer, then a space, then plus the token. The token must be passed as a parameter here. Now I'm just gonna go and call this from init. So I need to use await, then call get matches, and I need to pass down the token and init. Now it says not authorized to access resources. Authorization, I guess. Now you can see we have a success status and we have this data, so let's just go and use that directly. Now you can see we have an array with 2 objects. This means that we have 2 matches in this date here. Now I can just take a look on this object. So we have this away flag, the flag of the team, then the away score, it's score, that's what we need. We also have the away team English friends, that's also something we need. We also need the home flag and the home team in English, and also the home score. Also, we need the type here of the match or the stage. It's the round of 16. And we also need to know the time elapsed, whether it's not started or finished, or it's half time or first half, second half, etc. We also need the local date here. This is the date of the match, and this is the time. This is just a string, so we need to convert this to JavaScript so we can handle dates. And that's all we need, I guess. We can also use the group here, and that's it. So you really need to go through all what you have here to know exactly what you need to use. So now what I will do now is I'm gonna go, and I don't want to hard code this. We need to get today's date and use it. So I'm going to use a const, and I'm going to call this date. Let's say new date. So this is a JavaScript date, and to format it in this way here, we need to I'm going to create a const today, and I need to use today our date dot get. The first one here is get I guess date. So let's just go and console that today. So it's 4, that's great. So we can also just use some backticks here then. So we need to use the date, but first I need to get the month here. So date dot get, I guess it's gonna be month, and then a slash. So it's now 11/4. Now we need to add 1 here. So it starts from 0. You use get month. So we need to use a +1. Then we need to use another slash, and then again date dot get full year. Now if I save, you can see now that we have the same thing here. Now I'm just gonna go and send today down now instead of a string, and you can see how we get the same results. So this is now working. I just need to get rid of this console log here, and now it's time to go and call this matches. So const matches equals data, and now let's go and render the matches to our today matches tab here. So I'm gonna go now and call a function render matches. It's gonna take in the matches, and also it's gonna take in the element, which is the matches or today matches element. So we need to render the matches into this element here. So let's go and select our today's matches element here. So I'm just gonna go to top here, const. So it's gonna be to document dot query selector, and let's just go and grab the class name. Now let's go and create our function. Let's just actually copy the whole thing. Come on. So it's going to be a function, and let's just go and console log the matches and also today matches element. And we need to wait, so it says matches, so it's an array, and it says null, so this is null. So console log today, come on VS Code. So it's null. Today's matches. Today matches. I see. So we need to use differ here as well. So today matches run before the page loads. So I'm gonna hit save now. Okay, we can see now that we have selected this successfully. Now let's just go and say today matches that inner HTML. Let's say test. Now I can see I will get test here. So that's great. Now it's time to go and talk about what's going to go inside our render matches function. Well, now I'm just going to go and make this more general. Let's say element here. So now whenever I want to render the matches to any element, I just need to pass that element here down and the matches will be rendered to that element. Now I'm going to go to the index HTML. I'm going to go and minimize this and copy the whole thing. I'm going to hit save. Now it's going to be an empty dev. Now test is because of this one here. Now I'm gonna go here and use some backticks, and then I'm going to paste in my template. So let's just rearrange this. So I have this container, and this is where I will have all the matches. So I just need to go and copy the whole thing or cut the whole thing here. And now this is actually where I will render all the matches elements. So this all matches element is going to be created here. So all matches element is going to be equal to matches that map. So our matches here, what we get from the API is an array, and I'm going to use map to create another array, which is going to be our matches element here. So I'm going to go for each match, and I'm going to return the template for a single match. Just what I have copied from here. So now I will create the first match. Now if I save, we would see two matches, but this is a static like HTML code. So we need to change these infos here now. So I'm going to use match. So the flag here must be like $, some color braces. It's going to be match that let's say home flag. I just remember this. If you don't remember them, let's say console log and say match. So you can see here that we have this home flag, right? Then you can see it has changed already. Now we go and say Brazil here. Or instead of Brazil, we're going to need to use this home team English. And the same thing here. Now if I hit save, it's gonna say now, so team English, so it's going to be match that, and also match that. So now you can see we have Poland here. Now we need also 0, the score, the home score. It's called home score. So match that home score. And that's it. So now I need to go and just copy this and use it in here. Now instead of home, I'm going to use away. Hit save. Now Poland against France and Senegal against England. Now I need to go and change the group A here, and also this is not the group stage, this is round of 16. Now let's go and handle these. So this is where we show group stage. So I'm going to use here match type, and this is going to be date. So I didn't create this yet. Let's go and create them here at the top. So let's go and say let's date. We also need time, and we also need match type. So now I will go and get the date and the match type. So you can see now that these say here undefined, undefined. So now I will go and get the date and time. So if you remember, I have this match or local date. So I'm going to, this is a string, I'm going to convert this to an array, and then I'm going to use this as the date here. I'm just structuring this array here, and this, the second one is the time, So I'm going to use local date here. So it's going to be match that local date, and because this is a string, I'm going to split this on space. So we have a space here, I'm going to use that. Now if I use split, this will convert this to an array now. And if I hit save, now let's go and see. So now we have our date here, but we don't want to show the date here. We need to show today, for example. Now for undefined here, it's a match type. Now let's go again and console.match just to show you. Okay, sorry, I need to do that. So I'm gonna go here and use this group here or this type here. So I'm going to use one of them. So I'm just gonna go and create a const here. Let's say const match types. It's going to be an object. So when it's like group, I'm going to use group stage. So if this is group, if it's like R16, I'm going to use round of 16. So now the match type here, I'm just gonna go and change it here. So let's say match type. So I'm going to say match type equals to match types, and then I need to use the match type here. So match type, which is this one here, match type. Now if I hit save, you can see now we have a round of 16. We also need to change this group A here. We don't want to show group A. So what I will do here is I'm gonna go into this place here where this is where I show the group. So now I will need to use an if statement. So I'm going to check if the match type is equal to group stage, then what I want to show is I want to show the group. So I just want to show the group, and plus I need a space here, and I need to show this group here. So the match that group. So the group here is R16, but when we are in the groups, in the group stage, we show the group here will be A or B or C or D. So else I'm going to just like show the match type. I'm going to hit save now. We're waiting. So now you can see we have here round of 16, round of 16. But when it's gonna be group stage, we're going to show the group and then A or B or C or D in this place here. Now let's go and take care of this day here. Now I'm gonna need to add some comments here, so I'm just gonna go and say like get date and time of the match. The date, we need to format the date, so format the date to, so we need to show today if it's today, tomorrow if it's tomorrow, yesterday if it's yesterday date, and if it's not, if it's a day in the future, we need to like show that in this format, Friday, and then the month, and then the date, the day. So I'm going to go and say date. So I'm just going to go and change this date again. So I created a date here, I changed it here, and now I'm going to change it again. So I'm going to use a function called compare date. So I want to compare this date here, day of the match, to today's date. So I'm going to send this date, but this is just a string here, if you remember. So this is just a string, but I want to go and say new date to convert it to a JavaScript date. And now let's go and create this function here. So I'm just gonna go to the top here, a function. So it's gonna take in the date, and let's go and create today date, which is gonna be new date. And then all we need to do is to compare this date with today. So if it's the case, we're going to return today. We also need to create a tomorrow date, and this is where it will get like where you will get confused a little bit. So I'm going to go to the console here. Let's just remove everything, and I'm going to show you something. So let's say I have a new date, right? And then that get date. So let's say now we are on 4. Now if I want to get the next day, I need just to say +1, and this will be the tomorrow date. But what's gonna happen when we are on 31 December, then +1, that's gonna be 32, while we need to get 1 on the next month. So to fix this is simple. So I'm just gonna go and use a new date, then that set date. So I'm going to use this method here, set date. Now let's see what's gonna happen. Let's say I'm just gonna use 1 here. So it's gonna show this here. Now all I need to do is use new date, then I'm gonna pass in the whole thing again. So if I hit save, now it says December 1, because I used one here. Now let's go and use 3. It's going to say December 3. Now let's go and try 32. So it doesn't say and it doesn't throw an error. It says January 1. So we just fixed this problem here. So new date that set date, and that's gonna give us the date no matter what I pass here. So if I pass like 42, it's gonna be January 11, and that's great. So I'm going to use this here. So, and now all I need to do, so to get the next date, is use the new date here, or today dot get date +1. So today that get +1, that's tomorrow. And to fix the problem where we can get 32, if this was 31, we just use set date. Now I'm just gonna go and duplicate this, and let's use here yesterday. So yesterday, and you know that we're going just to use a minus here. Now I'm just gonna go to compare this date with these dates here. I'm just gonna go and use switch, and I'm going to compare the date that get date again. So get date is going to be a number. So if get date, in where the case is the day today that get date. So if that's the case, I'm just gonna go and set this date here to today, and then break. Then if it's tomorrow that get date, I'm just gonna go and set this to tomorrow. Then if it's yesterday, then I'm going to use yesterday here, and that's it. Now we will have a default. So a default here. What if it's not any one of these? Then if it's not today or tomorrow or yesterday, we just need to go and show the date in this format here. So we need to show this. So what I need to do here is I'm going to use this date here. It's a date, a JavaScript date object. I'm going to use to local date string, and I'm going to pass in English US, and then an object. So I want here the weekday to be short. So if it's long, it's going to be Friday. If it's short, it's going to just FRI. Now I also need the second thing to be the month. So I'm going to say month. Then it's also going to be short version. And then the day here, I want the day to be a number. So numeric. And that's it. Now all I need to do here is just go and return that date back. Alright, so let's just go and console log the date here. Console log the date. Let's uncomment this for now. So you can see it says today because it's actually today. So it means that this is like working. Now let's go and uncomment this here. And now instead of just hard coding this, let's say $, then date. Now let's go and say $, then time. And now you can see we have the right time and it says today. Now we're gonna need to handle this finished, so it's time elapsed here. But first I'm going to do the same thing we did with these match types. I'm just gonna go and say const match states. It's gonna be an object, so these can be not started. So if it's not started, I'm just gonna go and say not started, and it could be h1. I just read this in the documentation, h1, so it's gonna be first half. And if it's ht, I guess, so I'm just gonna go back to the document and show you. So here I have for the matches, it's not started, h1, hf, and h2, and finished. I'm just gonna go and copy those, paste them here. So hf if it's half time, then h2 if it's the second half, and if it's finished, I'm just gonna go and show finished. Let's go and remove this from here. Now I'm gonna go here, and instead of just say finished, I'm gonna go and use matches states, and then match that, I guess it's time elapsed. I'm going to hit save. Now it's gonna show not started. Let's go to our app here and see. So we show today here instead of not started. Now when it's not started, I don't want to show this, so I'm just gonna go and make this an empty string. Now if I hit save, so when the match is not started, we're just gonna show today and then the time. Now I also want to show the time only if the match is not yet played, it's in the future. But if the match is already finished, like here is already finished, I don't want to show the time, I just want to show the date and show finished. So that's what I'm going to do now. So I'm just gonna go here and check. So check if match is finished. So what I'm going to do here, so I'm just gonna go and create a const called finished and check. So if matches state with match that elapsed time, or time elapsed, is finished. So if it's finished, then we know that for sure that the match is finished. And now I'm going to change the time. So if match is finished, or it's live, we don't show the time. So I'm going to say time here equals, so if finished or live, if the match is finished or live, I want to go and don't show the time, but if it's not finished and live, we're going to show the time again. So I didn't clear live here, so let's go and check if match is live. So const live. So to check if the match is live, we need to check if this is not true. So this is not true, So if it's not finished, it's not it's live. But also if the match is that elapsed time. So I'm going to explain this. So if the matches with match.time elapsed is not finished, means that the match can be live. But if we check that matches.state is not an empty string here, so because if it's not started we show an empty string, but if it's started we show first half, half time, second half, and this is all will be evaluated to true. So now not started will be false and finished also will be false because we used not equal here. So if this is true, if it's finished, and if it's an empty string, then it's not live. If it's not finished and if it's not an empty string, then it's going to be live. Now if I hit save, I will get today and the time. Okay, so we can't see it now, but we will see it later. Now also if match is live, we don't show date. So we don't want to show the date. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to use date here, and I'm just gonna go and I don't want to change the date here, this global variable, because if I change it, this will change. I want just to change it here, and now both this one here and this one here are using this date. So now I'm just gonna go and create this match date, and I'm going to check if it's live. I'm going to show an empty string. I don't want to show the date, but if it's not live, I'm going to show the date, and then I'm going to hit save. Now you can't see that yet. I still need to go and put this in its place. So instead of date here, I'm going to show this match date. And I think that's it for render today's matches. But I still have one small thing here. You can see it here. I have this comma here, and that's because our matches date here is an array, because map returns an array. So to get rid of that comma here, because we have here two elements. This is the first element and this is the second element, and in an array they are separated by a comma. So what we need to do is we just need to join the elements of this array here. So I'm just gonna go here to the bottom here, matches.element. This is an array. I need to join them with an empty string. Now you can see that the comma is gone. If I join them with, let's say, this character here, you can see that in here. So we need to join them with an empty string, and I guess that's it. Now we have just finished today matches, which was like a big deal, long way. We still need to add the matches type here, but I'm going to like add them when we render all matches, and let's go and do that. Now it's time to go and render all matches here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create another file called all matches.js, and I'm just gonna go here and copy the element and also the function here. Now I'm gonna go into all matches and paste that in. Now we need to go just before init. So we need to go and link our file all matches. I'm gonna hit save, go to all matches. I'm gonna call this get all matches. And this one here will be all matches element. and this also is going to be all matches. So it's going to be this element here, all matches. So now get all matches token. I don't need the date anymore. I also don't need to send the body, and this is going to be a get request. Now if I go and open this, so we have all matches, we're going to get all matches from this endpoint, and it's a get method. So I'm going to change this to this endpoint here. I'm going to hit save now. Now matches data, I don't want to render matches here. I'm just going to go and console matches. Now I need to go into init. I'm just going to go and comment this, and let's say await get all matches, and I'm going to send the token down to the function, and let's see what we're going to get from this function here. So we have now an array which has 64, which is all the matches in the World Cup. So they are not sorted. So if you take a look on the app here, we have all matches. We have this is the first day, this is the second day, the third day. They are all sorted, and the matches now are put under this date here because they all have the same date. Now if we take a look on this one here, we have 21 here, 11 2022, and the second one here has the same date. The third one has the before date. This is the first date, 2011. So we need to sort out this array by date. So that's what I'm going to do here. So I'm going to change the matches here with a sorted matches by date function. Then I'm going to pass in matches. So I'm going to go and create this function here. So function, then matches here. Now I need to sort the dates here using this date. You can see now that we have local date. This is a string, and again this is the time. So we need to do the same thing we did before. So I'm just going to go and use matches dot for each match. For each match, I need to get const the date and the time. So I'm going to use the match dot local date, and I need to split this on space. We have a space here. So I'm just gonna go and save this. Now let's go and console the date. So invalid assignment to const here, I need to use let here instead of const because I'm creating matches and I'm changing it here. I need to use let. So I'm going to hit save now. Let's see the dates we have for the matches. So you can see here we have 21 2 times, then 20, then 21 again, 22 4 times, 23 4 times, etc. So they are actually kind of like sorted, but we still need to sort them by ourselves. So this one must go here. So how do I do that? I'm just going to go and create I'm just going to call this sorted, and it's going to be an object. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go and use this object here. So it's going to be like this, sorted, it's going to be an object, then it's going to be like 21 or 2022, and it's going to be an array, and it will have all the matches, which are again an object. Now then it's going to be like 11, like 20, 2022, which is going to be again an array of all the matches. So this is how this array will look like at the end. To do that, I'm going to say sorted date. So sorted, then the date, and then it's going to be equal to an array, and then I'm going to put the match in that array. So match here, just like we have here. But now lots of matches have the same date, so we need to put them in this way here. So which means we need to use an if statement to check if that sorted, this array here that has own property, if it only has this property here, if it only has that property created, we need to add this match alongside with this one here. So else, if it's not, then we need to create that property and we add that single match in the array. Now on the next time when this exists, what we need to do is we're going to use sorted with date, but now inside this array I need to destructure the old array. So I need to keep all the matches that were there and then add the new match that has the same date as these ones here. I'm going to hit save now, and all I need is to return that sorted array now, and let's see what we get here. So we get an object. This is an object. So now we have the date 21 here, and it's going to be an array, which is what we did here. Now we have 3 matches in this day here. Now when we go to 20, we have just 1 match. That's the first match. Now on 22, we have 4 matches. So we successfully sorted these arrays by date. Now we need to again sort them now by increasing the date. So we have 20, then 21, 22, 23, etc. So to do that, what I need to do here is I'm gonna go and sort them again. So how to do that? I'm just gonna go here and show you. So I'm gonna go and say object.values and then sorted. So I'm going to show you what this will return. So this will return an array with all the properties of these, just the values. So we have in an array, in an object, sorry, we have always this key then value. So when I use object.values, I'm just going to get the values, which is just the arrays of the matches here. So this is the matches that has all the same date here, and this is the second day, the third day, fourth day, etc. So object.values will return an array. Now to sort this, I'm going to use sort, and then I'm going to use here day 1 and day 2. So I'm just going to call this day 1, day 2. This is an array, this is also an array, and I'm going to return this condition here. So I'm going to say day 1 with index 0. So day 1 with index 0 is going to be this object, and I want to get this date here, local date. So I'm going to say that local date is greater than day 2 with index 0, which is the first match, then local date again. But this is not going to work because these are just strings, these strings here. So we need to compare them using the JavaScript date. So I'm just going to go and make this a new date, convert this to a JavaScript date, and then that get time And the same thing here. So I'm just gonna go and say new date and then that get time and hit enter. Missing after. So I guess now if reference value is not defined, 32. Okay, just need to get rid of this. Now if I save, now I get an array. Now the first array here, the date is 20. That's great. Now on the second one is gonna be 21. That's 21. The third one is going to be 22. And that's great. Now let's just go and render the matches here. So I'm gonna go now into here. I'm just gonna go and create a function called render all matches. This needs the matches array we just sorted and the element here, all matches element. Now let's just go and create the function render all matches. I'm gonna use function here, then matches, and then element. Now all I need is to go and use a for each. So for each match of the day, so match of the day, so what I need to do is I'm going to go and create a dev here. Const dev is so document dot create element, and the tag name is going to be dev. Now I'm going to render the matches of the day inside this dev, just like what we did here with render matches. We rendered the matches of the day of today in the today's matches element. Now I'm going to use the same function here in here and render the matches of the day here in this dev. I'm going to hit save, but now before that I want to append them to all matches element, which is this element here. So all element now, matches element. Now I'm using append here because this is a for each. I'm going to render the matches of the day to dev, and each time I want to go and append the dev to element, I actually need to use append child here. Now I'm going to hit save. Now let's wait and see what's going to happen. Let's open the console, missing before body, all matches 18. So okay, I'm using an arrow here, hit save, all matches, and now you can see that we have this all the matches now rendered. Let's make this a little bit bigger. Now you can see that we have all the matches now rendered, except now we have this Sunday, November, this now group A, this now shows finished, and the date. Now let's go and search for today. So this is today, it's round of 16. Now it shows round of 16 instead of group, and also this shows yesterday instead of this date here, and this is all because of this compare date today's date. And now this is tomorrow's matches. This is now undefined because we don't know what we call these. We need now to change them. So I'm gonna go and do that actually. So I'm gonna go here and console log the match of the day, or I'm gonna call this matches of the day, console log these. Matches of the day is not defined really. 20. So now if I go here, you can see that we have final. So we have type final here. So how about just like showing the type here? I'm just gonna go and say index 0 and then show the type. Now we have final, third place, semi-final, quarter, and round of 16. So I have these two, but we don't have these. So let's just go into day matches here and just matches type. Let's use QR and then semi-finals and then thirds. Because it starts with the number, I need to put this in quotes. Then we have final. I don't need to put this in quotes actually. So for QR, it's gonna be quarter finals. You need an A here. This is gonna be semi-finals. And this is gonna be third place playoff. I just got this from Google. Don't final. Then I'm going to hit save now. I need to get rid of this type here. Now let's go to all matches, and now you can see if we go to the bottom here, we don't have that undefined anymore. Now semi-finals, 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 third place, playoff, and final. Now we still need to go and get rid of this all matches. This means that whenever we want to render all matches, we just need to go and clear the element using inner HTML and set it to an empty string. I'm gonna hit save. Let's go back to all matches. Now you can see that it's gone. Now we have a problem here. So we don't want to show these here because these are not determined yet. You can see that these ones here are already determined. So what we need to do here is we need to go. So when we sort the matches by date, we also need to change again the matches array. So to be determined matches. So I need to go and check for the to be rendered to be determined matches. So for those, I'm just gonna go and change their flags to this flag here, and the name to be determined. So instead I have a problem. So I'm just gonna go and use this image here. I'm going to save it. So it's on desktop, src image, and I'm going to save that. And let's go back here and open our console. Now all I need to do here is I'm going to create or return directly matches.map, and for each match of the day I then let's use for each for now just to see what's going on. This is a good way when you want to use a map. I'm just gonna go and get a return. So let's go and return the matches first, just to see the matches here. Now I'm gonna go, and because matches of the day is going to be again an array, so for each match. So now let's go and console log that match. So we can see that we have here the matches. Now if we take a look on this one, this is a to be determined match. We have the away team is just has just these underscores, etc. So now I'm just gonna go and check if the away flag doesn't exist. If it's an empty string, this means that this is a to be determined match. If it's not, I'm not gonna do any changes to the object. So that's what I'm going to do here. So I'm going to check if the match that away flag is an empty string. So if it's an empty string, it's going to be false. Not false, it's going to be true. So if we don't have an away flag, we need to return. So I need now to make this a map, then a map. I need to return here this array, and I need to return the whole array. No need to use the return matches anymore here. Now I'm going to destructure match, so I need to keep all these other informations like local date, match date, time elapsed, etc. But I want to change the away flag, and I want to change the home flag as well. I want to change the home team English name, and I want to change the away team English name. So this one is going to be to be determined. The same thing here, to be determined, if that's what it stands for. Now for the away flag, I'm just going to go and use that flag. So it's an src, then image, then it's going to be image, then it's going to be this image here. Let's just call this unknown. So image unknown, the same thing for this one. So can access property local dates 73. Where's 73? So this means that we had a problem. So if the match that away flag doesn't exist, is an empty string, we return the match with these properties changed, else we just return the match. So now if we take on all matches, now let's go to the bottom here, and you can see that now it's to be determined, and you can see that the flag doesn't like show by default, but when I hover, we have this background added and we can see it now. So this means that I'm just going to go into the style.css file. Where is the flag? This is the flag. I'm going to add a background color of gray, and you can see now that they are now having a background, and we can see them right now. So I think that's it with all the matches. I hope so. Yeah, that's it for all matches. Now let's go for stand-ins. Now it's time to go and get the stand-ins and render them. So I'm gonna go again and create another file called standins.js. Now I'm just gonna go and link that. So we have this all matches. Let's duplicate this. let's call this standings.js. Now inside standings.js, I'm going to use the same code from here for get all matches. Now I'm gonna go and put that in here. Now instead of all matches, it's gonna be standings element. Same here, standings element. So here's all, it's also going to be standings, just going to be a const, no need to change that. Then here I'm going to render standings, then it's going to be standings here and standings element. Now I need to go and create that function, this function here. And for now, let's just go and console log the standings. I'm gonna hit save. Now instead of standings, we're gonna get the matches. We need to change this endpoint. So let's go back to our to the documentation. So to get the standings, we need to use a get method to this. To send a request, a get request to this endpoint here. So let's go back here and change the endpoint. I'm going to hit save. Now let's see what we're going to get. So we have here an array. It has all the groups A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. We have the group A. So this is a property of this object group. And then teams, we have these teams here. Now let's go and render these to our standings element. So I need to go into the standings here element dot for each. So for each group, I'm going to console just for now group dot group, and you can see that we have here A, B, C, D, F, G, H. Now let's go to our index here. Now we're going to, so we have our teams here. This is our row, the second row, the third row or team, and this is the fourth team. Now I need to go and remove all of these, and this is a single team. I'm just gonna go and copy that for now. Let's go into the standings here, and now let's go and create an element called teams element, and this is going to be, so I need to get the teams first. Teams equals group dot teams, which is an array. So teams element is going to be teams dot map. For each team, I'm going to return this template here. Now this template row here, let's just arrange this. So we have this column here which has these elements here. So the rank here is going to be the index of the team, I guess. So let's just get that, say index here. So let's use the index because it's a zero based index. We need to add one. So index plus one here, the flag. Let's just go and console log these teams here. So each team will have a flag. So we'll just need to go and use that. So $8 signed in team, this team here, then that flag. Just gonna go and use this everywhere. Same thing for these. Now this one's gonna be name, en. Same thing for here. Now for the first column is going to be match played, so it's gonna be MP, I guess, MP. So then when W, then a draw D, then a lost L, then goals for, then goals against, GA, then goals difference, and then pounds. I'm going to hit save now, and now I need, so this is the teams element. This is what we go inside of this here. So it's gonna go inside of here. So it's going to be teams element. And let's go and copy the group template. And hit save. Now let's go to stand-ins. Now in the stand-ins, we're not gonna see anything. Now let's go and create that group element, const group element equal, again, some backticks. Now let's rearrange this again. So we have this group title, and then we have the teams in here. Now we need to go and save these group elements in our stand-ins element, this element here. I'm just gonna call this element. So element, let's go to the bottom here and say element dot inner HTML equals that group element. Let's hit enter. Let's go to stand-ins, and you can see we have only one team here, which is not okay. So I need to use a plus equals sign here. Let's hit save. Let's go to stand-ins, and now you can see we have all the groups here. We still have this comma again, so we need just to go and say dot join, hit save, stand-ins. We need to join them with an empty string. And there you go. So we have all the ones here. I need to change the group here. So it must be group that group. So it's this group here. It must be group that group. Now I'm gonna hit save again. So group A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. That's good. Now we have one problem. This has 0 pounds and it's ranked first. It has 7 pounds and ranked last. This one's not ordered again. We have no order here, so we must order these. Now let's go and create a function called order teams. So it's gonna get the teams, an array, and we need to order them. We're going to use sort. So this is where I need to order the teams, order teams, and we need to send the group teams. So let's go and open our console. So teams here, what I need to do is I need to go into our teams. Let's just return the teams and then call that sort. So now we need to sort them using pounds, right? So I'm just gonna go and say team A and team B. I need to put this inside parentheses, and I need to return this condition here. So I need to check if the team A dot pounds are less than the team B dot pounds. So now we can see that we have this one has 7640. 7531644. Now you can see here we have a problem. This has 4 pounds, but the goal difference here is -1 and this one 0, so Poland must have been ranked second. So this means that we need to check if the pounds here are equal. We need to like sort these teams based on the goal difference. So that's what I'm going to do here. So I'm just gonna go and get rid of this return. So I'm going to check if they are both, if team that pounds is team B that pounds, I'm going to return the team A that goal difference is less than team B that goal difference. So remember, we have this in group C. Now if that's not the case, I'm just going to go and return the old one. So this must be here pounds. Let's hit save, go to standings again. So we have this in group C. Now we can see that Poland now is ranked first, in Mexico third, because we have this goal difference. Now let's go and see if we have some teams that have the same pounds and the same goal difference here. So same pounds but not same goal difference. Same pounds but not same goal difference. It's here. So you can see that we have here same pounds, same goal difference, but goals for are now so South Korea must be ranked second and not Uruguay. So I'm going to do the same thing here. So I only want to return that F. So F team goal difference are both equal. We need to see goal 4. So I'm just going to go and take this in here and say goal 4, then goal 4. Then I'm going to hit save. Now let's go back again to standings. Now so South Korea is ranked second. And I guess I'm not going to go deeper, because we still can go deeper. You can just go and check the FIFA standings system. Well, we just did like a great job here. That's enough for this this website. Now it's time to go and render today matches, all matches and standings. We just need to go to init here. Let's go and await here and get all matches. We need to send the token again. So we have today matches. That's great. All matches. So get all matches is called 2 times. So I'm gonna need to use get standings here. Get standings. So all matches, standings working. So get standings is not defined. Standings. Oh no, we didn't even change the name here. So this must be get standings. So now we have today matches, all matches here. And now we have this standings in place, and that's great. Now when I refresh, I want to say load in here before this loads. So I'm just gonna go in here. Let's go and create a div with the class name loading that says loading. Now let's just copy this, use it instead of all matches here, and use it also here. So now if I hit save, you can see loading, same thing here, the same thing here, but here it didn't like go away. Let's just go to standings, and here I need to reset that element, that inner HTML to an empty string. Yeah, now we just need to center that. So we need to go to our style.css. So let's go to our tab here. Or let's just go and add loading. So that loading here, all I need to do is just say text align center, hit save. Now let's go and check that. So we have loading here, always centered. I just need to add some padding here, padding, let's say 2 rems. Let's go and refresh, loading centered. I guess that's it. Now we just need to go and check if this is responsive. Now it's time to go and make our app works on small devices, because now if I go and open the DevTools and if I select a small device like S10 here, this doesn't look great. So the first thing I will do here is just use a small font size. So I'm going to choose a small font size. So I'm gonna add some for small devices here. So I'm going to use add media, so media queries, and so I'm going to use max because I'm going from desktop to mobile devices, which I don't recommend to do. You always need to start styling the website for small devices and then go up. Here I made a mistake, so it should be end. But because this is a small website, I'm just gonna go and do this. So max width, I'm going to use 450 pixels. And then for the HTML font size, I'm just gonna go and use 14 pixels. I'm going to hit save, and it didn't. So here I should say for 450 pixels. Now you can see we have everything now in place, but still we have this problem here, and that's because of this column here. Let's just go and copy this. I don't need to use 40 pixels. I'm just gonna go and I'm going to use 25 pixels here, and you can see it looks just great. Now if I go for an iPad here, now let's just go and shrink this. So we have here 750. So when I get here, I should add another media query here, for when it's 600 pixels and less. I'm going to use 16 pixels, and here I'm going to use 30 pixels for the width. If I hit save, you can see that it's working just fine right now. So if I shrink it out more, now you can see that it's actually working. So we are at 350 pixels. I don't think that there are still mobiles with that width. And that's it. Let's go and see all matches. It's also working just great. Let's just make this a little bit bigger. So you can see we have 4 matches in a day, and to be determined are in place, which is great. I still have this issue here with this, they are not aligned. So let's go and fix that. So I'm just gonna go, I guess, in here for, this is actually a theme. Let's just go and use the inspector. So info here, display flags. Let's say justify content start. It didn't do anything. Okay, because I'm using here space around, I need to use space between. That fixes the issue. So, but we still have some problems here. We have some margins, we need to add some paddings. So I need to go to theme here. I need to use space between. Alright, now I just need to add some padding for left and right. Let's say 0.5 rems. I think 0.575. Let's just check that. And I think that's great now. And I think that's it for our tutorial. That's it. That's all we need to do for this website. So I hope you learned something new in this tutorial. I hope you enjoyed it. Although it's a long tutorial, well, take care. Don't forget to like, comment and share and subscribe. Take care.